Good morning and happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining Groundwork Ohio and our Family Action Network and Family Voices at the Statehouse webinar. We will begin shortly, so hang tight. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. You see the numbers creeping up. We'll give it a couple more minutes. We will go ahead and get started. Next slide, please. Again, welcome to our webinar this morning. Our team is looking forward to providing you with exciting news about Groundwork Ohio's Family Action Network and a special day at the Statehouse. A few housekeeping items for this morning. Today's webinar is being recorded. Closed captioning is available in your Zoom settings. All participants are muted, and we ask that you use the Q&A feature for questions and include your email address with your question. Please note that if we can't get to your request or question during the webinar, we will follow up via email, so please make sure you provide your email address. All participants will receive today's slides and a recording of the webinar along with an email about next steps. We are excited to be using an interactive platform called Mentimeter. You can scan this QR code with your phone or go to menti.com and enter the code you see on the screen. 2668-5868. Next slide. So to get us warmed up for this morning, the first question that should be popping up for you is who's in the room today? We know that we're joined by a number of partners, but just want to get a gauge for what areas are that folks are joining us from. Thank you. See, everyone's already getting warmed up. We see the numbers. Early learning, healthcare professionals, social service providers, community-based organizations. Yes. Give a few more moments for folks to let us know how you're joining us. Joining us. We appreciate you engaging in our Mentimeter platform. Awesome. We'll go ahead and move to the next slide. So we'll just take a brief moment and provide an overview of Groundwork Ohio's mission and the importance of early childhood policy. Groundwork Ohio is a committed, nonpartisan public policy research and advocacy organization formed in 2004. Groundwork Ohio focuses on the prenatal to age 5 period, and we champion high quality early learning and healthy development strategies that lay a strong foundation for Ohio kids, families, and communities. We engage, educate, and mobilize diverse stakeholders and strategic partners to promote data-driven and evidence-based early childhood policies. And that is how Groundwork Ohio advances quality early childhood systems in Ohio. So for our webinar, we're going to be covering the following. What is the Family Action Network? We also lovingly call the Family Action Network FAN. Who is the FAN? What is the Family Voices at the Statehouse event? how can you, as partners across the state, support the FAN and the event? We'll also cover next steps as well as engage you all in a Q&A. So the purpose of today's webinar is to ask you to take action on two things. Today, we are asking you to, one, recruit parents and caregivers to join the Family Action Network and attend an event called Family Voices at the Statehouse on May 27th, 2026. And two, sponsor the Family Action Network and event day. We are going to do another Mentimeter question. So it says simply, in one or two words, what motivates you to support parents and caregivers having a voice in policy decisions? Feel free to take a moment and answer now. Hmm. And just note the number, the larger the word is on the screen, that's the number of results. So we're seeing equity as huge. Accountability, solutions that match, empathy and care, honor expertise, confidence, lived experience, the future. These are great. Thank you so much. Give it a few more seconds. Compassion, empowerment, community thriving. Thank you all so much for sharing. This is really highlighting your why as to why you're joining us this morning and supporting this initiative. Let's start with some history on the Family Action Network from our president and CEO, Linan Gutierrez.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, it's Linan. I'm so pleased to provide some kind of historical context for how we've engaged families over time and how we came to have a Family Action Network. If some of you, I know, seeing your names, there's a few of you on the call will recall back in 2018, we really led a conversation focused on equity, and in the way we did that was by releasing a really large race and rural equity report focused on young children in Ohio. We led with what we knew, we shared the data, and then we traveled across the state to see how that data came to life or resonated in local communities through a series of community events, small and large, that all look different across the state. But one thing that we were open to or were hopeful for with a number of these community events, of course, was that families would come. But as you already know, no families came, because when programming isn't intentionally built for families, there's no expectation that we should see the families who are the experts of their own lives, but are also living through parenting young children and living through the challenges of our families who we really focus and target on, those low and middle income families, oftentimes working multiple jobs. Why would they come to a statewide advocacy organizational event if there wasn't any intention behind that? And so with that experience and a number of other learnings, there's really a through line from that work back in 2018 to everything we're doing today, whether it's data and the way we engage our stakeholders and specifically our family work. So in making good on that commitment, we had the opportunity to first do some intentional planning, which again, many of you on the call can appreciate that you don't always get the resources and the time to do the planning. You're just asked to do the work. And we can do that too, but we had a 6-month planning period of time where we could really seek out and determine with that, and at the time that was with the support of the Molina Healthcare Foundation, we could really seek out and find how a statewide organization could add value, could build advocacy infrastructure focused on family voices. And so the report here on this screen in front of you was published in June of 21, and it committed to 8 core capacities that Groundwork would take on. And I'm proud to say that we have delivered on all of those and continue to build and deepen on those core capacities of our organization. One of them, and the first one we acted on, was the Family Action Network. So groundwork typically without the Family Action Network doesn't have a more natural kind of way to have direct relations with families. So a lot of our peers across the state, and of course all of you, or many or most of you, have direct relationships with families. You're providing direct services, or you lead an organization where all those organizations who sort of report up to you in a membership organization or otherwise, they are interacting and providing a service or intervention to families. And we do not have that. And so our real theory of change, of course, is not unlike the work that you do in the community or any of the work we do out here, is we have to rely on our community-based partners across the state, since we're that kind of that one step removed. And so what we did was begin recruiting for direct relationships with families through those community-based partners, and really wanted to invest in the advocacy capacity of those families. And so we started, while the Family Action Network is not meant to be a cohort model per se, you have to start somewhere. And so we launched the network in May of 2022. And we did so by recruiting 100 families at that time, who all had the commonality of having a child, at least one child under 5, although I think we had at least one family who had 9 children. So a whole scope of families and what they looked like and where they were from and their experiences. It was beautiful. And we were able to invest in their training over a series of virtual trainings to help them prepare for, at that time, what was the first experience that any of them ever had with their policymakers, and certainly with engaging in state policy and advocacy at the Ohio Statehouse. And so since then, since having that opportunity to kick off the network, we've maintained the network, and it's grown and then shrunk and then grown. And there's always constant onboarding, offboarding. As you can imagine, like, it takes a lot of persistent time and effort to maintain those relationships as families come on and off for lots of different reasons, including that sometimes they no longer have children under the age of 5, which is why those relationships with you all is so important to having that pipeline to building families. So we're excited to return to this very intentional family focused, only family focused, not programming that also includes families, but very family focused opportunity here in May, as we kick off all of our stakeholder engagement work across the state, and we'll be engaging in our roadshow activities, doing more events across the state. But this is a Columbus-focused event where we're really investing deeply in families to help engage them and then mobilize them for the next couple of years as our work ahead continues to grow. So thank you. I hope that's helpful, and I'm happy to answer any questions at the end.
Thanks, Lynn, for that history. So the Family Action Network is a powerful and diverse coalition of families from across Ohio, and it's about 140 families strong. We empower parents and caregivers to actively participate in the policymaking process, ensuring that their lived experiences and insights are reflected in decisions that affect their families. By fostering a diverse and inclusive coalition, we amplify the voices of those who have historically been excluded, working to create a system where families have genuine influence in shaping Ohio's early childhood policies and practices. FAN centers lived experience in policy and practice. Parents are trained, compensated, and elevated. Providers collaborate with families, not just for them. And we are committed to equitable communication. That means we use feedback loops about the family engagement work we do. We survey families to understand what they need, and that survey is shown in our early learning dashboard, with 4 family stories to represent the data. We hold FAN monthly calls to help families understand the importance of our why and our 4 policy pillars. We have a family action committee, which is a group of parent leaders who are influencing our family engagement work we do, and at Groundwork Ohio, and we are encouraging them to be leaders in their own communities. Next slide. The families in the Family Action Network are made up of a diverse group of families from across the state with young children under the age of 5. We have parents, grandparents, foster parents, and kinship caregivers. We've recruited families from across the state, with 26 of our 33 Senate districts represented, and we have families from 25 out of 88 counties. And just in case you're wondering, yes, their dad's participating too. And as a former parent of the Family Action Network prior to my role here at Groundwork Ohio, I love leading this work. I am so excited to have an event where that families can all come and share their experience at the Statehouse. We want to make sure that the Family Action Network event is even bigger, so we need your help to recruit more parents and caregivers. Those who will join will receive competitive stipends for their participation in the training sessions and the event at the Statehouse. There will be ongoing engagement after the event, so families have opportunities for more leadership, unique programming, and additional ways to engage with policymakers and each other. Next slide. When joining the Family Action Network and in preparation for the May 27th event at the Statehouse, families will participate in 3 90-minute virtual trainings at a time that fits their schedule. During the trainings, families receive instruction and support in crafting their family story and building their confidence in meeting with state legislators. All families who participate in the training and event day at the Statehouse will receive a stipend for their participation. The fan advocates will receive a total of $450, $50 per webinar training, and $300 for the day of the event. I will now turn to Vanessa to explain what we have planned for the May 27th event at the Statehouse.
Thanks so much, Melissa. So on May 27th, we will be focused on elevating the voices and experiences of families with young children from across the state and providing them with an opportunity to meet with state legislators and their staff. The solidifying and consistent theme of the day is our families, our stories, and our state house, acknowledging again that the focus of this day is elevating the voices of families with young children and providing them with an opportunity to share their stories. So we
On May
actually
18th, score.
No worries. Just noting that as Melissa and Linan spoke to, we held a similar event in 2022. And so you'll now see a 30-second video that will give you a feel about what we're talking about and describing.
On May 18th, scores of families came to the Ohio Statehouse to make their voices heard. They brought their babies, toddlers, and preschoolers because they want Ohio to be the best place to be a young child. Too often, families don't have a seat at the table when laws are being made. This was a day for them to celebrate, to share their concerns with lawmakers, and to tell their stories.
Okay, the excitement. We will begin the morning with registration opening up at 9 a.m. in the State House atrium. The morning program will highlight the importance of family voice in the policymaking process, and it will give policymakers and their staff the opportunity to listen to our fan advocates, as well as provide families with the opportunity to meet with them and share their personal stories, including their worries and their dreams for their children. Please note that there is no set agenda or advocacy platform going into this day, as we are making a concerted effort to create an environment that will allow families to share their experiences in an authentic and meaningful way with their state legislators and staff. The event will close at 2 p.m. So to prepare for this day, we are inviting all members of the Ohio's General Assembly, including our 99 House representatives and 33 senators, to lunch with their families. As the event draws near, state legislators and their staff will receive a personalized postcard from the family or families from their communities that they will have an opportunity to meet with on May 27th. Marty Ridley, our digital communications director, will walk through the ways that you can help recruit families and support the event. Before I hand it off, next slide, please. Before I hand it off to Marty, I do want to emphasize how much we need your help. Please understand that convincing 100 families to spend a day at the State House is no small task. So your help and support is appreciated and needed. We are doing everything in our power to make this a family-friendly and accessible day, including providing things like diaper changing stations, nursing areas, snacks, and so much more. And with that, I'll hand it over to Marty to share ways how you can provide your support.
Next slide. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Good morning to everyone on the call. My name is Marty, and I am happy to thank all of you again personally. We are so grateful for the support that we've received from partners just like you from all across Ohio. Our partners are the people that have gotten us where we are today and building a strong statewide family action network. So there is a role for all of our partners and stakeholders to help make this a success. Say that a couple times fast in the morning, and we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so as a reminder, these are the things that we are asking for your help with, and I will walk you through each one. So the first is recruitment. We need your help with recruiting parents and caregivers to join the Family Action Network and attend the Family Voices at the Statehouse on May 27th. Our application deadline for that is February 27th. And then we are also asking for your support with sponsorship for this event. So we do have some opportunities to sponsor the Family Action Network and event day, and we'll be closing our sponsorship by April 15th. So that gives you some time to start discussing this idea with your teams. Next slide, please. You can help recruit parents and caregivers to join the Family Action Network and attend the event by sharing this web address or a PDF flyer that we will send to you after the webinar. Both the web page and the flyer will have a link to complete a simple application that interested families should have done before the 27th. So we will just walk through that and take a look at what that will look like online so that you can help families if they need any assistance. Next slide. So this is what the web page looks like. And just so you know, as you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you will see the full application there. Next slide. So it is a very simple online application. So a parent or caregiver will enter their name and address first. Next slide. And then they will enter their email address and phone number, and then answer a handful of questions that will indicate how they identify in their child's life. So whether they are a parent, a grandparent, foster parent, etc., the number of children living in their household, and then the ages of the children living in their household. Next slide. So they will also tell us how they heard about this opportunity, and that's where they will enter the name of your organization. They can then indicate their contact preferences and the best time of day to reach them, and they will indicate whether they are able to attend the event at the Statehouse in Columbus on May 27th. Next slide. We will also have them indicate whether they are able to attend those 3 virtual trainings between March and May. And then we ask things about the primary language spoken in their home, whether English or American Sign Language interpretation is needed, and whether they need any additional accommodations. We want to make sure that all of our families that are able to attend have all of the accommodations they need to feel comfortable. And then finally, we have them respond to a fun reflective prompt, which is just, when I think about my family, the first word that comes to mind is, and that's it. Next slide. Okay, so let's do a quick temperature check, shall we? We've got another short survey question for you. So how ready are you to help recruit families? You'll give us a few seconds. I love that the first one I saw pop up was very confident. Yes, got some fairly confidence, some somewhat confident. Okay. Thank you all for engaging in this online survey. Okay. You got some somewhat confidence. Okay. So if you are at a 2 or a 3, do not worry. This next section is especially for you, okay? It is perfectly okay to not feel fully ready yet, but Groundwork Ohio has planned for this, and I have got a surprise I want to share with you on the next slide. All right, so to support all of these efforts and things we are asking you to help with, we have developed a recruitment toolkit. So that will make it much easier for you to invite parents and caregivers to participate. So the toolkit will include some pre-drafted social media posts. So it is literally going to be copy and paste. We will have social media graphics for you to use on X, formerly Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. We'll also have a flyer for you that you can send out electronically, or you can print and distribute it within your community. And then we also have drafted some newsletter content. If you have like a weekly or monthly newsletter that goes out from your organization, we have made copy for that already to make it easier for you to send out to your networks via email, or like using a blog post if that's something that your organization does. So just again, as a reminder, after this webinar, we will send out the toolkit via email and other materials for you. And you are invited to start sharing this information as soon as you receive our toolkit. Next slide, please. Finally, we are asking for your consideration of financial support. So we are seeking sponsorships for both the network and for the programming that will happen on May 27th to ensure that we are delivering a high quality program and we are deploying best practices when working with and supporting families. So you can see again here that there is a giving level suitable for all willing partners, and increasing your brand recognition for your organization is available at every level. Organizations who sponsor will also receive a ticket to attend the event. So if you are interested and able to make a financial donation, please contact us directly at familyaction@groundworkohio.org. Next slide, please. Our family sponsor level donations will help us provide that stipend that we talked about to every participating family, as well as purchase things for the event day like diapers, wipes, changing stations, snacks, children's books, coloring supplies, and many more activities to keep families engaged during the day. So again, if you are able to make a financial donation, please contact us directly at familyaction@groundworkohio.org. So we appreciate you all. We cannot do this work without partners. You all help us reach every single corner of the state, and we can't do this without you. So thank you for considering sponsorship, and Vanessa will now help us wrap up. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thanks, Marty. Next slide, please. Thank you. So repeat back after me. Our next steps, we've got two of them for you. Recruit parents and caregivers and sponsor. Everyone who registered for this webinar will receive a follow-up email later today with a webinar recording, today's slides, a recruitment toolkit, as well as sponsorship details. So we now have some time for questions and feedback. We thank everyone who has thought of questions. It looks like our team has answered them in the chat, but please feel free to use this as an opportunity to ask questions of our team.
Vanessa, while people think of questions, it might be
Sure.
good if you could like recap a couple of the questions that we already answered in case other
Absolutely.
people have similar questions.
Absolutely. So this morning we've seen questions. Are our first time pregnant moms able to attend? That is an amazing question. And yes, that would be wonderful. So please feel free to share this information with expecting moms and parents. Do we know how long registration will be open and when the welcome and opening remarks will be? Great question, because we understand that folks will be traveling in to Columbus, Ohio at the Statehouse. Please note that the program will promptly begin at 10 a.m. So if that helps folks to plan and to think about travel time, that's amazing. So thank you for that question. We were also asked, how about transportation support for families? I want to emphasize again that we will be offering stipends for our family advocates participating this year. They will receive $300 for attending the day of, and they will also receive $50 per training. The stipend will be able to be used on things like transportation. So please note, whatever you think of that families would need to use that money for, that is what it is there for. Again, we understand where we want to meet families where they are. And so providing the stipends beforehand will certainly help with things like transportation. let me see. I think there was one question. How about parking passes for the families? Um, Linan, can I lean on you for that question?
Sure. Hi, yeah. So we had detailed parking directions last time, and we did include like in our thinking around the stipend for the day of and making sure parents and caregivers had money in hand that it would cover the cost of parking. But we can explore different options for parking as well. We also were able to connect families that had other families in their region with partners who are also coming to the event to do some carpooling. So we can get creative if there are those additional types of concerns. We've always directed folks to park in the Columbus Commons lot off of the Columbus Commons and having families walk through the park. We'll have volunteers stationed periodically from the parking garage all the way to the Statehouse to really like handhold folks into a new space that they're in. But it is a big deal coming to Columbus for our families. So anything we can do to improve that, we are open to it. And we also need to, create and raise more resources to cover those things. So thank you for your support all around.
Thanks, Linan. Our next question, how is the stipend distributed? Do participants receive it after each training?
Yeah, so we've previously done it after each training, but we thought it may be more helpful because it becomes a lot of transactions in a fairly short period of time, to do a one stipend after all of the trainings so that they have money in hand prior to the event, and then one after the full event, or make that happen on the day of the event. Um, we are open to this, and we also are open to talking to our families directly about what they would prefer. That's how we made choices like this previously, to say, hey, like, how are you feeling about this? What would make sense? Is it easier to get this email? Would you rather have a physical check? So we definitely engaged the group on those choices. But at this point, we were hoping to provide two separate payments, one that would be in recognition of the three trainings, and part of the money that would be for the day of event. So again, they had more kind of cash in hand to fill up gas tanks, pay for childcare or provide any of those costs. And then one on the day of or after the event. But we're open to feedback. The stipends are something we're always iterating on, because it's just about meeting the needs of the families. And so we'll ask for direct feedback from them as well.
Linan, one more question I kind of want to direct to you before we get into Elisa's next question. What about hotel information? Is that something that we will be providing for families that will be traveling?
Yeah, we certainly can provide that to families, but our intention is that we've set the day up so that they can travel the day of. That's why we've provided a stipend to overcome barriers in recognition that they may be taking off, or likely if they are working, taking off that full day of work. So we've really thought about a stipend that translates to really some hourly compensation that includes a couple of hours of travel, regardless of where they're coming from in the state.
Mhm.
Um, but we've provided families with information on hotel stays. But as you can imagine, with 100 families, like, our ability to resource overnight family stays is limited. So it's something I wish we could do more of, but that's not how we've set up this particular opportunity.
Thanks, Linan. Our next question, do you have an idea of how many families you would like each partner to recruit? That's a really great question. As you can imagine, our brain is hyper focused on recruit, recruit, recruit. We have one of our partners who is willing to engage 25 families. We currently have about 11 applications that have already been submitted. And so I would love for everyone to just push the information to whoever they think will truly benefit from this opportunity. So, not so much a number. We just need the applications to roll in, and we figured we would lean on our near and dears from across the state to help with that effort. But thank you for that question, Elisa.
Vanessa, can I piggyback?
Sure.
Oh, sorry, and Sarah might have something to add as well, but I see local community-based organizations and statewide organizations on here. So one of our goals from an advocacy perspective is to ensure that that room of 100 families is filled with diverse folks from across geography, from across legislative districts. We're trying to make sure we have a family from every Ohio Senate district, so 33 unique Senate districts. And then we have a similar goal for Ohio House districts. Of course, there's many more of those. So what would be amazing is if folks can recruit, like if you're a community-based organization, thinking about 3 to 5, and if you're a statewide organization, thinking broader than that. The unique opportunity here is even if we can't accommodate the family inside this State House event, we still have ongoing opportunities for our Family Action Network as a whole. So even our existing Family Action Network members, some of them will likely be participating in the State House event, but some of them come to participate in different ways throughout the year, whether it's through story collection, or some of them have traveled and gone to different training and other advocacy opportunities. There's always different sort of campaigns and opportunities and ways that we connect them with policymakers throughout the year. So there's no harm in over recruiting, and please hear us from Groundwork to say there's going to be many incredible families, and we will tap them and plug them into opportunities, even if that opportunity isn't that May event with the 100 families in the State House. Because if you can imagine 100 families with a handful of us, and of course their children, their partners, spouses, that fills the room of 400. That maxes out our ability in this space. So this is a unique opportunity for this 100 families, and we have many more opportunities for additional.
Thanks, Linan. I think that really is a great segue into the next question. Do most families bring their children along? Yes, yes, and yes. And please note, we are working to provide the day-to-day needs as much as we can in our capacity. So those nursing stations, those diaper changing stations, as well as snacks, we want to make sure that we are intentional on engaging the children that will be in the space as along with their parents and caregivers. So yes, bring the kids, bring them.
And that is the delight of this event, by the way, which our policymakers have commented on in the past, that it's the most babies and toddlers they've ever seen at the State House at one time. And that is precisely one of the outcomes that we want, the beautiful noise that invokes accountability in a much different way than just adult voices could. So all families and all children are welcome.
Thank you so much for these thoughtful questions so far. Any other thoughts we want to highlight while we wait for a few more questions to trickle in?
You can also feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to come off mute and ask your question live.
So we've got two more in the queue. What are the partners' role at the event? I am planning to attend. Is there a stipend for us? So as we highlighted throughout the webinar, this is a very family-focused and centered event. And so the stipends that we are allocating are specifically for families participating. So at this point, as a partner, we are asking you to do two things to help us recruit, help us to have the geographic diversity across the state, so that way families can meet with their respective policymakers, as well as sponsor financially or as well as in kind. So those are the opportunities that we are providing for partners at this time.
And to put a finer point on that, I know I just shared how quickly the room fills up, but you'll be recognized as a recruiting partner, which is why it's important that your family identifies how they learned about the opportunity. You'll be recognized as a recruiting partner, but we truly can't accommodate any more physical people, like people in that space beyond what we've accounted for in sponsors and for our families, because we need to have spaces for the legislators to be able to sit and have that conversation with those families. So it is hard to, we wish we could accommodate everyone, but this is the focus and intention of this event, and we will recognize and elevate you, but we cannot accommodate all of the recruiting partners at the event.
Thanks, Lynanne. Joellen asked, have you thought about inviting policymakers to bring their children? That's a really great question. One thing I do want to highlight that we haven't really spoken to, we did share this. So the invitation is going to legislators as well as their staff. According to the legislative calendar, most folks are not going to be in Columbus in terms of legislators, but their staff will be. And so the anticipation or expectation on who the families will be meeting with is primarily with their staffers. Now, there might be a few policymakers that will be available to join us, but please note that we are trying to temper that expectation in saying that families most likely will be meeting with their staffers. Now, in our world, that translates into that is almost just like meeting with the policymakers because the staffers are the gatekeepers. They are the keeper of so much key information that they then translate to their members. So I just wanted to call that in this moment.
And the calendar can always change, of course. We'll recruit as many policymakers to be there as possible, and many of them specifically accommodated this event in the past. And we'll also have legislative folks and leaders available at the front of house or on the agenda through panelists. So there'll be multiple layers of access, and we're thinking about how we can engage our Department of Children and Youth, so other administrative policymakers as well, in with these opportunities.
We've still got time for more questions. Feel free to enter them in the chat or to raise your hand. These questions are great. We really appreciate the level of engagement this morning.
Can I just chime in with a shout out to our groundwork team for those of you still on the call? If there aren't other questions, I know our team's going to close out, but I just want to say that our team is recognized across the country for the family engagement work we've done. In fact, Melissa just traveled to Texas with one of our parents. And they're really leading the way, not in just policy and advocacy, which is so prime to what we do, but also informing best practices of how families are engaged in policy and advocacy work. So our team is second to none, and just please know how responsive we are to your feedback, to continuing to improve. And thank you for putting your trust in our team members. I trust them absolutely with all these family relationships, and none of it could happen without all of your support. But just know that our team, and Melissa in particular, is constantly answering text messages from our family members. It's very personal relationships, and we take it very seriously. So thank you.
Thanks, Lynanne. Well, I do not see any. Oh, thank you, Elisa. We appreciate you. Our friends from Toledo. Thank you. We will go ahead and wrap, but I just want to reiterate that later on today, you will be receiving a follow-up email, again, with today's recording, today's slides, a recruitment toolkit, and sponsorship details. Next slide. We just want to thank you all in advance for showing up today, for showing up and sharing this opportunity with families across your communities. And we truly look forward over the next few months working and engaging with you all. So thank you and have a great rest of your Tuesday.